Welcome to episode 147 of Drew's Sports Crew here on this Monday night. Myself, Drew Skyberg, bringing you the news in the Wisconsin sports world. And look, we made it. Happy New Year. Enjoy it, right? There's some college football on right now. I'm bringing this episode, of course, right before the 7 p.m. Bucks game against the Pacers. This is going to be a good one. So that's why I'll wrap it up before then. And look, overall, I mean, as a Wisconsin sports fan, look, this today might have been tough. I know we don't talk Badgers here on the show, but man, that was a tough, unfortunate event there. As they lose to LSU, I felt like they had that game. It really did. Just sometimes things don't go your way, and look, that was one of them for sure. I not to get too much of the Badgers, but like that was just a brutal loss. That last drive was unfortunate to say the least. But overall, I mean, look at Green Bay. They put up back-to-back years. They've had one game where they struggle a little bit against Minnesota. Last year was the first game of the year, right? And then this year they struggle at Lambeau, but then they go to Minnesota and they take care of business. That game wasn't. I think that game was over, right? If you look at the end of the first quarter. I don't. We'll get into the decision to start Jaron Hall. We'll get into just overall that team. Vikings just a down year after a year that was so great. Is unfortunate, but yeah. So we're gonna be going through Packers and Bucks in episode again 147 here on the show. First one in 2024. But yeah, again, I want to just take a moment here before we start. Go through some announcements. First and foremost, I want to thank you all for a great 2023. I put out a video yesterday just highlighting all the things, right? Whether it was a post today, right, which we were able to accomplish that feat in 2023 and look forward to running that back here this year. But then also the participation on you, the listener, on your end. We did a lot this year. It was live show, right? Throw that right comes to mind, but then also fantasy football leagues just awarded a winner. Congratulations to Dustin Burgundy on beating me in the finals. In that one, I take second in my own league. Unfortunate. But then also looking at what else we've done, right? Of course, doing March Madness pools, right? Doing that for college basketball, we got a great turnout in 2023. I believe we had 25 to 30 people. It was nuts, right? And I'm looking forward to how about we make it 40 this year? It's always fun. I pay out 100% of the pool, so it's that there's motivation for me is bringing people together. So that's where I'm excited we can do that again here in 2024. But um, I'm just looking forward to what we got in store. Some cool stuff with Point Brewery, of course. And then, of course, your content at Drew Sports Crew, right? TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. You can also find Drew Sports Crew. That might help on Facebook as well. So that's the good news. And also going here to Wednesday Journey to Million. That is when it is going to be. And look on that one, we have Bernie Vandenhoevel joining this show. Bernie Vandenhoevel will be joining us. I'm excited for that. He bring him aboard. And Zach's going to be, he's actually currently right now out in Europe. Out of all people, yeah, Zach is out there. He is going to be there for a couple weeks. So in his place, we're going to have Bernie Vandenhoevel again fill in. Great job. Here in 2023 to 2024 for fantasy football. So love to see that. And yeah, we're gonna be doing games, and Bernie brings some interesting games. He might. I don't think he'll be bringing one, but I got some fun ones. Him and Jared. It's a good group of us. We'll be talking some NFL stuff there. So keep that in mind. And yeah, otherwise, the drill. Me here talking tonight. We're gonna be back to Sunday nights coming next week. Back to the usual time. Don't want to keep moving things around, but how about I kick us off with the Packer Viking game? Let's go to NFL first. I changed my mind. How about it? I mean, the Packers from start to finish had themselves a day. Right, Aaron Jones had, he was player of the week last week for the game he put up. Huge game and over 100 yards rushing. And he was like, okay, how about I do 120 tonight? Puts up on it was only it was 20 carries. I say only almost, but like that was a great deal of volume for Jones, who has really struggled to get out there this year. It's and he's been, we need him. Him when he's healthy again, 20 carries for 120 yards, 6 yards an attempt. Like that's who he is when he's healthy. He is a top 5 back in terms of efficiency in the NFL. That's what this Packers team needs. AJ Dillon just has not been efficient this year, and his numbers have gone down throughout his career. It's definitely concerning. I don't think he'll be back here in 2024. Unfortunate, but just the way to look at it. But yeah, again, Minnesota's decision coming into this one, they said they named Jaren Hall the starter. I think it was on Thursday, maybe Friday. I was shocked that Hall got the start. I guess to O'Connell's credit, we didn't really see a lot of Hall. He got a concussion in his first start and then after again Cousins tore his Achilles, but he also got in some snaps against Green Bay. Look, he's a rookie. He was at the end of the day, he's not NFL ready right now. Hall definitely has some potential, right? There's no denying that. Right, I think it's like a guy like Aiden O'Connell who got kind of thrusted in the spot, who's been kind of like game manager with Las Vegas. I don't think Hall's even there yet, but definitely some potential. Just too many turnovers. He's 5 for 10, and right after the second quarter, you knew O'Connell was going to make a change, and he was like, "Yep, Nick Mullins is going to be starting us in the second half here." 13 to 22 with a touchdown. Mullins played better. Mullins should have started this game. It shouldn't have been Hall. In hindsight, 2020, right? But looking at 13 to 22 with a touchdown. Look, this Minnesota team's beat up. I mean, they have so many problems, unfortunately. Ty Chandler has taken over the running game, which he should have had it over this. I've always thought Chandler's the better talent over a guy like Madison and the rest of the running game. He finally gets it at this point in the year, which was shocking. But Minnesota only ran the ball 16 times because they played from behind, and that was to the Packers' favor because the Packers on the ground has been brutal. We know passing the ball has not been great either. It was something. And look, this game for the receiving core with Minnesota was rough too, because look, they didn't have a quarterback to throw the ball them, and Jefferson was 5 of 59, had 10 targets. He had a 30, right around a 33% target share. That's incredible to see, and he's 5 for 59 again. Had that, and then Johnny Munt, right? Hawkinson's tore his ACL, and he's out for the season here. So they had Johnny Munt in there. Look, I know this is not a Vikings podcast, but just like the injuries that have really hurt Minnesota this year, just is really like on this offense is insane to see. But on the Green Bay side, they've been getting guys back, and that's been a huge asset for this Green Bay Packers offense. And even at the receiver side, where Christian Watson has missed, was it 3 straight with that hamstring, and that's going to be a story to look at here, as now he's missed almost, I think it's around double-digit games at this point in his career. But, on your bingo card, did you have Bo Melton leading the team in receiving yards in a game this season? Did you have that? Because I didn't, unfortunately. Dotavian Wicks has led it to the game, or led the team in receiving this year at a point, and Bo Melton as well. Now with 6 receptions, 105 yards, and a touchdown. He had 9 targets. He led the team in targets. Bo Melton. How about it? And he was a guy who stood out to me in the preseason. We talked about him on this very show, actually, about how he has the chance to make a difference. We talked about Kraft as well. After Tyler Davis went down in the torn ACL in the preseason, but definitely, right, Luke Musgrave going down. We want Musgrave back. He's phenomenal talent. I want him back. Help the tight end core as well, too. Dobbs 3 for 28. Then, Jones had 1 for 10. Look, this offense was very well balanced, and this is what the Green Bay Packers need in terms of target share. 9-8-6-6. That's kind of that's a good recipe for success with Green Bay, and it has been, and excited that has continued. And again, this Green Bay team, defense, one of the best games of the season. Again, I know the quarterback situation. I'm trying to give Joe Barry's defense played very well. Sean Nixon led the team in tackles in this one. Also had a half a sack. Had a nice game. Devontae Wyatt had a half a sack. Preston Smith had a sack. Total of 4 sacks here for this Green Bay defense. That was a pleasant surprise to see. Corey Ballantyne also had an interception early. Good momentum swing for Green Bay. Look, Anders Carlson. 2 for 2 on those field goals, which was good to see. But 3 for 4 on the extra point. I was talking about it during the game last night. I was like, pencil an Anders Carlson miss. It's unfortunate. He leads the league in missed extra points, I believe. I don't know. I don't know about the kicking situation. It's tough. I mean, we're seeing NFL teams just swing kickers left and right this year. The Rams are the most known for this, as they had Brett Maurer, then they cut him, and then they brought in Lucas Haversack, and then he gets cut, and then they bring Maurer back. They also had Crosby in during a time this year, and then Crosby missed a kick against them when he was on the Giants. Just weird stuff. Um, I just find the kicking carousel, like this year specifically, has been the most we've seen. Right, we've seen Will Lutz. We saw multiple kickers get traded before the year even started. We saw a lot of kickers get cut. And I know kickers get cut. We know that. That's part of the game. But it's like the leash has gotten shorter over the years, and that's been just a crazy thing that's developed. But otherwise, yeah, this Green Bay team. I think the big plays were the story too. Especially with Jaden Reed, I haven't even talked about. He was 6 of 89 with 2 touchdowns, and then he got hurt. That was all like in the first half. But like the way players like Jaden Reed are able to make things happen after the catch, but then also with some of those throws, he's put some really nice throws together as the years gone on. I know the deep ball looks a little wobbly still, and there's definitely still some in there, but just think about some of those games. Think about that Atlanta game to start the year. I know it was right after the Bears one there. Think about that. Think about the Raiders game to start the year, right? Those are 2 games of note that were pretty disappointing. Think about how far Jordan Love has came to at this point now with a 3 touchdown game in Minnesota in a tough crowd. Basically knocks the Vikings out of the playoffs. I know they're it's very unlikely they make the playoffs now after this win for Green Bay. And again, Jordan Love, 3 touchdown passes, and this one puts up now 30 on the season. He's number 3, I believe, in the NFL. He's like Dak Prescott, okay, and then who was it? Tua Tagovailoa, and then you see Jordan Love in there. It's like, come on, this is great to see, and love to see it for Green Bay, and just the way again he's developed. Now the Packers go to 8-8. Deja vu, right? Go back to a year ago, 8-8. Need 1 win to get in the playoffs. They're at home against a division rival. Guess what? We have that same scenario here. Instead of the Lions, the up-and-coming Lions, it's the up-and-coming Bears, who they put together one of their best games of the year. I am intrigued to see what this line's going to open at. How about I read you some ESPN stuff on what they predict this game to be like? Because again, the game got announced. It's now 3:25 on Sunday on CBS is where you can find this one. Let me see the opening line. The opening line is Green Bay -3. And keep in mind, Green Bay is the home team. So, yeah, that's not good. So ESPN gives them a 57% chance to win. We like to see that, but like Green Bay, like Bears can make this a game. Justin Fields is playing for his job and has played very well at that. Tickets are expensive in this one, so you might want to watch from your seat at home. That's what I will be doing. And again, that game is 3:25 on Sunday. So I'm excited for this one. Bears right now, Darnell Mooney and Jalen Johnson are both questionable. Johnson would be a huge loss for this for that Chicago defense. Intrigued to see kind of what happens there, but look, I'm excited. I'm excited for this game against the Bears. It's going to be a good one. And best of luck to Bears fans out there as well. So let's go over to the Bucks here. Again, before that starts up, that game here tonight at 7. Whenever you're listening, I know. But Indiana, they play the Pacers back-to-back this week. So it goes Monday, Wednesday, and it's in Indiana on Wednesday. Indianapolis, right? Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central. They're on TNT Thursday. You get to see Victor Wembanyama. Hopefully, he was out last time when the Bucks played them in Milwaukee. Hopefully, you see him at San Antonio. That game TNT is where you can find that. Then we have Saturday at Houston. So, look, I have the Bucks going 3-1. I know I want the Bucks to win Wednesday in Indiana, but I'm unsure. So I do have the loss there for them Wednesday. How about this past week, though? You lose Christmas Day. We talked about that game already. And then Brooklyn decides to do let's rest the whole team against the Bucks, which that was just a gift. Talk about a Christmas present. That was a gift right there. As that Brooklyn team's fought, and then Mikal Bridges got benched for the second half, and then they blew away. It was cool to see. I mean, they were going to blow away regardless, I felt, but just helped speed up the process when they benched Bridges and a few other stars who didn't even get in there. So again, the Bucks put up 144 points. Just kind of simple there. Though this offense has been, again, if the season ended in NBA history, like for a season for a team, that's what we saw. We're currently seeing the Pacers are like number 2 right now. So like that's why tonight's over under is like 261, 267, something insane. They expect a big game in Milwaukee tonight. I'm excited to watch. So again, Giannis in this game was against Brooklyn was 10 for 12, 12 of 17 from. It was a great game for him. Campaign. How about it? He was 5 for 8 from 3, plus 24, plus minus. Look, this was one of Payne's most meaningful games I felt as a Milwaukee Buck so far. I just thought the impact he made. He kind of had the AJ Green role, come in a game that's kind of like, not that it was out of hand, but like a game of Bucks are pretty favored to win, and light it up. Just shoot threes, put points on the board. But he did more than that too. I thought the big thing was 6 assists too, and 2 steals. Definitely again Payne's best game of the season, I'd say. Without no denying that. I just want to get Andre Jackson more in there. Only 2 minutes there in that win, and he's just kind of taking a more of a approach where just learning more, it seems, and as he was earlier in the year. This Cavalier Bucks game was something. It was a back to back, or not back to back, but it was back and forth. Cleveland really went up early and dominated. They could not stop Jared Allen. He had a career high. Again, he had 30 points, which was remarkable to see. 30 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, and it was like, come on, Bucks, really. And then the third quarter came around. They outscored them 40-21, and they really took control after that. That third quarter was the difference. And credit the offense again, just how lethal this offense is. And Bucks can quietly just like, the defense isn't there for Bucks, but like when they get a little bit of momentum, the offenses can just like light it up. And we saw 41% from 3 with 12 made threes, and we saw that third quarter just feature a barrage of a lot of threes, and it featured just overall a lot of offense, to say the least. And big part of that was Damian Lillard, right? 9 for 16 from the field, 11 for 11 from the line. Right? He's been just automatic there this year, which has been a huge asset for Milwaukee. And then also Chris Middleton having had a great week, 13 points, 11 assists, 3 steals. Look, Middleton's just a ball player. He makes the right play, the right time. And he's a guy you need on this team, especially we talk about the turnovers that we see with Giannis and Lillard at times, and Middleton makes the right play. Does a great job here for this Milwaukee offense. Then, right, I talked about the games this week. I'm excited for them, especially the one tonight. But then, next week, the schedule gets harder. I talked about this annoying stretch a couple weeks ago, but we're almost to it. It's January 8th through the 17th, and it features Utah, Boston, Golden State, Sacramento, and then Cleveland. All potential playoff teams. Utah probably won't make it, but my point is, like, teams that are going to put up a fight. And especially that Boston Golden State stretch. That's Thursday and Saturday. Those tickets are a joke right now. I saw like $80 get in standing room only right now, even, and it's going to only go up, I feel. But they do have a weird stretch in the season where they play Cleveland. It's coming up here. So it's Wednesday. So from Wednesday, January 17th to Friday, January 26th, they play them 3 times. This schedule is like, I talked about the NBA schedule when it came out now months ago, but I talked about like the schedule having just, I get the stretches in the year, and it felt like it was almost lazily made at some spots. Like this stretch, Cleveland, Detroit, Cleveland, and they play. The weird thing is they play Detroit back to back on the road, and they play Cleveland back to back at home. Like, I don't know. I think it's kind of kind of just weird how it's set up. And then also, they played Cleveland 3 times in a span of like 9 days, and it's like, why? Is this baseball? We got 3-game series now, or it's a weird 2-game series thrown in there. Uh, It's like how baseball on opening day is like a Thursday, and then they have an off day on a Friday. And like, why would you have an off day on the first Friday of the whatever? Things like that. I just don't get with these schedules. But look, we'll talk about the playoffs for the Packers. I don't really need to talk about the Bucs standings. They're number 2 in the East right now. Like yeah, they're 2 games back of Boston with a lot to go. So we know that. Just gotta keep winning games. Simple as that. That's my analysis on it. Because like, what else are you gonna say? Yeah, they gotta win. They gotta win more than the Boston doesn't. They gotta beat Boston in those head-to-head games, right? Things like that is what we need. But then the NFL, it's I love scenarios like this. Okay, when you're in, that's Green Bay's job. That is what happened. Seattle just dropped an egg against they lost to Pittsburgh with Mason Rudolph starting. That was a gift. Um, and now Seattle's behind them. And then thankfully that New Orleans game was huge because New Orleans pulled off a big win against Tampa. I was shocked they won that. They dominated that game. New Orleans is 8-8 now, and Green Bay's got the head-to-head, no problem. Don't have to play them again. And now, yeah, what happened was it's a lock that Green Bay is going to clinch the strength of schedule over Seattle. So that's why it's when you're in, because if Seattle wins too, you have the strength of schedule because there's no head-to-head, and it's not division, or it's strength of victory. My bad, because they've had the. It says strength. I thought it was strength of schedule. It goes strength of schedule and strength of victory, and the Packers have the tiebreakers, is my point, to make sure that if they win, they're in, regardless of what Seattle does. They control their own destiny at this point. Again, Bears are officially eliminated, but then how Minnesota can get in, they need they need a lot to go their way, is how it is. It's a mess because they are 7-9. And then New Orleans, well, of course, they have to win next week. But then New Orleans 8-8, Seattle 8-8, Green Bay 8-8. So there's 4 teams alive for one spot left. And Green Bay has the best shot to get that spot, which is remarkable to look at, which right now is a date with either the Eagles or Cowboys based on how this week goes. And you don't, honestly, if you're Green Bay and you play Philly, probably not ideal, but based on how Philly's played, you wouldn't hate it, right? I mean, they just dropped an egg to Arizona. That was another one that was like, really. But those are games you're looking at, and just crazy to think you might get playoff football in 2024 for a Green Bay Packers. Like, that's cool to think about, but also shocking maybe coming in. If out of both these teams, this year's and last year's, this year's team makes the playoffs, it's gonna make me laugh a little bit. Like, this team's okay. We know that they have the offensive firepower. They have young, right? When I say from the young players, right? Jaden Reed just stands out. Watson when he's healthy, guys like that. But this team, this team's playing with like they have nothing to lose, and that's really good to see. Like, and they don't, they really don't. Like, okay, if they lose round 1 in the playoffs, are we going to be like, oh, this team could have went so much farther? We're not. We're going to be proud of what was accomplished for this Packers squad, and we're going to move on. So that's what we're looking at here, and that's going to wrap us up here in this episode here. Again, episode 147. Again, Wednesday, you're going to find myself, Jared Voloski, and Bernie Van Hoovel on the show. Have a great week, everybody, and have a great start to your 2024 at Drew Sports Crew on all social media platforms. You know the drill. Again, that's going to wrap it up here for myself, Drew Skyberg, here on this Monday night. Thank you all for listening to yet another episode of Drew Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.